you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Family of the female final year student of Lagos State University, murdered for ritual purposes in Osun State, demands justice. Nigerian military's withdrawal from some parts of the country effective first quarter of 2020 to allow civil authorities take over security duties. We continue our review of the year 2019 tonight with infrastructure, the challenges and the way forward. And scores of fires burn out of control across Australia as heat wave pushes temperatures over 40 degrees Celsius. For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. youtube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. Our review of 2019 infrastructure in the year that's about to go by continues. I've been joined now on the news at 10 by Mr. Adeomi Akinpelu, a quantity surveyor and former Secretary General of the Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors, to give us more insight into infrastructure development in the outgoing year. Mr. Akinpelu, thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much, Amarachi, for watching me, and compliment of the season, Nigerians.
Compliments of the season to you too. Let's get into the discussion. In spite of the huge fund allocations to infrastructure in the budget, would you say that that has been enough to address the challenges in the sector?
Definitely, it's not enough. Budgetary allocation for development of infrastructure in Nigeria will not give us the desired result, because infrastructure in terms of scope and in terms of cost is very, very massive, which definitely, because of the dwindling resources of the federal government, there's no way budgetary allocation can be adequate. We need to think outside the box. Government needs to start thinking of bringing in private sector participation by relaxing the condition that will be investment friendly, and by making sure that at least we try to open up our infrastructural space for private sector to come in. And what do I mean by that? In the infrastructure development pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid is the political will, which this administration has. I give it to this administration. But there are some other things, like enabling environment, which government is trying to resolve by way of ease of doing business. But the funding is all over the world, which Nigeria can access. But how friendly it is our environment and how safe is the investment. So there is need for government to start thinking of how to make sure that the private sector comes in. ICRC is there, Bureau of Public Procurement is there. There are two key acts that government needs to work on. ICRC Act, the amendment is still at the National Assembly. We quickly need to tidy up that one, while the Bureau of Public Procurement needs to be empowered so that there will be proper delineation between those projects that are qualified to be run under PPP. Because when you say infrastructure, we have economic infrastructure and social infrastructure. For social infrastructure, I will advise government to concentrate on that. But for the economic infrastructure like road, airport, seaport, those ones can be concession and be run under PPP. And Nigeria must be ready to pay a token for all this infrastructure. Because for every project, you have to consider the cash flow that is coming into the project and see whether it is viable. Most of the projects under economic infrastructure, they are viable. And government needs to push all the infrastructure to the private sector for us to get out of the wood. You can see that the Honorable Minister is trying.
I'm sorry to cut in here. I do suppose that what you're saying does buttress, what was also said in the report. Experts such as yourself saying that, other experts, beg your pardon, saying that you need to turn to the private sector for this. And that's because the government has always said it's never had enough funds for infrastructure development. So how can they approach this for local content promotion and sustainability?
Thank you very much, Amarachi. You see, Nigerian government needs to try and make sure that they bring in the construction professionals in the built environment. How we can promote local, content is that all over the world, infrastructure is so massive in terms of cost and in terms of, scope. So government needs to make use of the in-house Nigerian professional to drive the process in terms of design, in terms of construction and supervision. Because if you look at it, our infrastructure the cost is so high because of the, foreign content. And we need to domicile the patronage of Nigerians professionals. We have 7 professional bodies in the built environment, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors, and some other 5 ones. Government needs to, as a matter of urgency, declare a kind of national emergency on infrastructure by encouraging these 7 professional bodies to organize what I will call construction summit. At the summit, we need to look at which project should be pushed under private partnership and which one government should run. I think it's high time. We have economic summit, construction summit, we need to start thinking about that.
All of this, we hope, is being put into consideration. Mr. Adeomi Akinpelu, former Secretary General of the Nigeria Institute of Quantity Surveyors and a quantity surveyor himself, thank you for joining us on the News at 10.
Very much, Amaraji.
Going to stay on a little bit in our Abuja studio as Ibrahim Adra joins us now with more on the News at 10. Hi, Ibrahim.
Hi, Amarachi. Thank you for joining us. Senate spokesperson Godiya Akwashiki has been responding to the public outcry against plans by the National Assembly to spend a sum of 37 billion naira to renovate the National Assembly complex. Senator Akwashiki says the Assembly complex is in urgent need of repair after 20 years, explaining that the lawmakers merely drew the attention of the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA, to state of disrepair. He says the FCDA and not the National Assembly will handle the award of contracts for the renovation of the complex.
The issue is solely the issue of FCDA, because this structure belongs to FCDA. I've read it in the net that people, the Sirab, are trying to take the National Assembly to court. For what? I don't understand. Because the National Assembly complex belongs to FCDA. The main responsibility of the FCDA, of the leadership of the Senate or House of Representatives, is to inform Mr. President that this structure is in the state of collapse. So, Mr. President, it is left from the President of the Executive now to tell the owners of the National Assembly complex to send their technical officers, the architecture, the building engineer, to find out which area and what attention they need in the National Assembly. How they come about the 37 billion is not the issue of the National Assembly. It's purely the issue of the FCDA. And let me tell the general public, it is the FCDA that are going to award the contract. And 10 kobo of this 37 billion is not coming to the National Assembly account. It's going straight to the FCDA. So if they said they should not renovate it, so be it. Our prayer is that the day the structure will collapse, it should not take anybody's life.
The concern is because the National Assembly approved it. It was in the budget, and the National Assembly had the leeway not to approve it.
The National Assembly approved the budget just like we approve other budgets. We approve construction of road from Lagos to Ibadan. We approve construction of road from Enugu to Owerri. We approve the construction of road from Abuja to Makurdi. It's the same. The sole responsibility of the National Assembly is to approve budget for the executive arm of government to implement. So this one is not different.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, insists Nigeria is not in debt trouble, as been claimed by those he described as scaremongers. Mr. Mohammed says rather than being in trouble, the economy is in good condition. The minister explains that the country's total debt stock is within a reasonable debt to GDP ratio and that the economy has grown in the year 2019 under review. On the border closure, the information minister says Nigeria is very close to food self-sufficiency, noting that the closure has helped local food production as well as curb crimes. The minister was speaking at the news conference in Lagos to review the activities of the Buhari administration for the year 2019. And when the news at 10 returns, scores of fires burn out of control across Australia as heatwave pushes temperatures over 40 degrees Celsius. That and more from our London Bureau and around the world in 5.